If you're looking for AP Human Geography multiple choice tips, this video is for you. In it, we're gonna go over 11 multiple choice tips that you can start using today to help you score a 4 or a 5 on your AP HUG exam. This video is brought to you by Albert. If you've never checked us out before, just create a free account by using the link in the video description below. By doing so, you'll get hundreds of practice questions as well as detailed explanations to help you master the difficult concepts that you'll need to score a 4 or a 5. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Our first AP Human Geography tip is to focus on specific themes. It's really important that you understand the most frequently tested themes when it comes to the AP Human Geography exam. There are certain topics that will be covered much more often than other topics. So it's best and wise for you to use your study time appropriately to those specific topics that will be tested more frequently. You'll also want to figure out what your weaknesses are so that you can pinpoint your study time towards those sections as opposed to other sections that you already know really well. Overall, the AP HUG exam breaks things down pretty evenly between units 2 through 7. So you're gonna have on average between 12 to 17% of questions coming from each of those respective sections when it comes to your multiple choice exam. This means that it's more important for you to focus on units 2 through 7 as opposed to units 1, and then take that prior tip that I just told you in terms of focusing in on your weaknesses when it comes to deciding which of these units to spend more study time on. Tip number 2 is to mark up key words or phrases in the question. You're going to want to take a look at the multiple choice question that's being presented to you and look to see if there are any particular words that stand out to you. These could be words like except, not, all, best, etc. These sorts of words should cue you in to pay a little bit more attention to what the question is asking you to specifically answer. We recommend that you circle these command words to hone your focus in and then start answering the question from there. It can also be helpful to underline keywords in the question itself. For example, you could underline key places, people, vocabulary words, etc. By picking apart the questions, you're going to be able to pinpoint specifically what the College Board is asking you and then answer the question to the best of your ability. Tip number 3 when it comes to AP Human Geography multiple choice tips is to not skip any questions. On this exam, you do not get penalized for getting any questions wrong, and so it makes sense for you to try every single question on the exam. We recommend that you use the process of elimination whenever you can. If there are 1 or 2 answer choices that are clearly wrong in the question, then strike those out and then consider the remaining ones. Using the process of elimination can be a great way for you to increase the odds of you scoring more points in the multiple choice section. Contrary to popular belief, answer choice C is not always the correct answer when it comes to just guessing blindly on a multiple choice exam. So use the process of elimination accordingly so you can score more points. Before we head into tip number 4, if you're finding this video helpful, do us a favor and hit that like button below, and also consider subscribing if you haven't already to get more AP study tips like these. Our fourth tip when it comes to the AP Human Geography multiple choice section is to form a plan when it comes to approaching your practice tests. Taking practice tests can be a great way for you to continue to build on your strengths and weaknesses over the course of a school year. So one way you could approach this is by creating a calendar event that's recurring once every single month in which you're going to practice multiple choice questions. Then over time, you're going to want to build out an entire time block in which you're going to answer a complete multiple choice section for an AP Human Geography exam. By doing this, you're going to build up your testing stamina, which will allow you to be more seamless on test day in terms of pacing yourself and making sure that you're answering all of the questions in the allotted time. Another approach you could take is with a weekly or bi-weekly approach. Every single Sunday, you could work on the FRQ section, and then on another Sunday, following your FRQ practice, you could then practice your multiple choice questions. By cycling in and out, you won't get bored as easily when it comes to your AP Human Geography studying, and also you'll be building up your gradual stamina as opposed to putting everything into one dedicated study day a month. Whatever the case may be, what's important for you to remember here is that you're building up your foundation over the course of the school year as opposed to just the days before the exam. Our fifth tip is to make sure that you're not spending too much time on one particular question. Ultimately, the reality is that at the time of this recording, you're gonna have an hour to answer 60 questions, which means you get 1 minute per question. So if you're spending too much time on one particular question, it can potentially prevent you from giving enough time for the other questions on your exam. Remember, one of your goals should be to answer every single question on this exam because there is no guessing penalty. So make sure that you're pacing yourself over the course of your exam so that you can adequately attempt every single question. To help you with your pacing, we recommend that you get a timer in which you can set for 1 minute per question and then click the start and reset button for every single time that you answer a question. If that's too intense for you, then you can also just set it up for time blocks, for example, 10 minutes for 10 questions, 20 minutes for 20 questions, and so on. By using this sort of strategy, you're going to be able to help yourself get familiar with the sort of pacing that you need to accomplish when it comes to the actual test day. Tip number 6 is to make sure that you know the types of multiple choice questions that will show up on the exam. There are a ton of types of multiple choice questions that the test makers like to use, so be sure to check out the accompanying blog post for more details on this. In our blog article, we provide an example of every single type of multiple choice question that is commonly tested on the AP Human Geography exam. Some of these question types include, but aren't limited to, definitional, cause and effect, sequencing, and generalization questions. So be sure to check out our blog article for more details on the sorts of questions that you'll see. Getting more clarity on the types of multiple choice questions that are asked of you will help make the section feel more manageable when it comes to actual test day. Tip number 7 is to make sure that you understand how to interpret graphs, maps, charts, and illustrations. It is more than likely that on your AP Human Geography exam, you're going to have to demonstrate your ability to do this. So we recommend that you expose yourself to as many of these sorts of illustrations and charts that you can before test day. Our accompanying blog article has a map of Native Americans by county that asks you to interpret the actual results that are shown in the particular map. So be sure that you're able to build on these sorts of skills leading into test day. That way you understand the sorts of things you need to look out for, whether it's the axes, whether it's the legend, or whatever it is on the particular thing that you are being asked to analyze. Tip number 8 is to make sure that you're taking good notes and using an actual true note-taking system. Look, reading textbooks or review books is simply not enough to actually understand the content that you have to master for the AP Human Geography exam. So it's really helpful and valuable for you to take on a real note-taking system that will allow you to retain the information that you are reading and understanding. One way you can do this is with the Cornell note-taking system. To use this method, draw a line 1/4 of the ways into your sheet of paper, and then on the left side of your sheet of paper, write out questions that you have from the content that you are digesting. On the right side of the paper, you're going to want to outline some notes, some answers, or some drawings to the question that you put on the left-hand side. Then reserve the bottom of the sheet of paper to summarize the key takeaways from the thing that you are reading. By using a note-taking system like the Cornell system, you're going to be able to find the key takeaways from your notes more easily and also review things much more quickly when it comes to those last days leading up to the exam. Tip number 9 is to teach concepts to friends or family members. A great way for you to test your understanding of a concept is to actually teach that concept to another person. So whenever you have the opportunity, try to explain a key concept from AP Human Geography to a friend or a family member. It might also be fun for you to create a Jeopardy game in which you can have certain questions and answers with your friends and your family as you work through the review sessions of your AP Human Geography class. Whenever there's something that is particularly difficult for you to articulate, you're going to want to take a note, hopefully with your note-taking system, so that you can review that in your own time and then try to, again, explain it to a friend or family member a few days later. Our 10th tip is to write your own multiple choice questions. A great way for you to formalize your understanding of the types of questions that the College Board will ask you, as well as your understanding of key concepts, is to try to come up with questions yourself of what the College Board may have created for you. We recommend picking an area that you're struggling with because by using this process, you'll be able to better understand that concept and then improve on this weakness. It may also be helpful here to have friends or classmates to also write questions and then to give each other's questions. By doing this, you're going to be able to see how others interpret that particular concept as well and how they try to trip you up when it comes to writing their own questions. What's really important is that you're not too wishy-washy or simple in the questions that you're writing out. Try to avoid having just purely definitional questions in these questions that you're creating for yourself. Try to challenge yourself to apply a concept to a particular data set or situation that you've seen in the past so that it's a little bit more unique and requires critical thinking. If you need more examples here, we highly recommend you use our site Albert. We provide hundreds of standards aligned practice questions that mimic the real exam. So it can be a great way for you to familiarize yourself with those different types of AP Human Geography questions. Our final AP Human Geography multiple choice tip is to use the information that's given to you to your advantage. Sometimes questions within themselves will actually reveal a little bit for you that will help you on later on in the exam. For example, there might be a question on the exam that describes for you the nature of relocation diffusion, and then a later question that asks you to define relocation diffusion. So by being able to connect the information between different questions, you might be able to actually use that to your advantage when you're answering a later question on the exam. This tip all comes back to reading things with a critical eye when it comes to your human geography multiple choice section, because when you do so, you're going to be able to pick up on these sorts of subtle cues that could help you out come test day. There you have it, 11 AP Human Geography multiple choice tips to help you score a 4 or a 5 on your exam. If you're looking for more practice, be sure to create your free account on Albert using the link in the video description below. By doing so, you're going to get access to a few of our units so that you can get a feel for what it's like to practice on Albert. And if you choose to upgrade, you're going to get access to hundreds more practice questions that you can use as you prepare for your exam. We also cover things on the FRQ side, so we are a complete solution for your AP study needs. If you're a teacher watching this video as well, be sure to apply to our pilot program to try us for free with your school. By doing so, all of your students are going to get access for a month to see what it's like on the Albert platform. Lastly, if you found this video helpful, we'd greatly appreciate it if you hit that like button below, and also subscribe if you haven't already to get more AP content like this. That's it for this time though. I'll catch you guys next time when we jump across the pond and cover some AP Human Geography free response tips.